Hey guys, welcome back to another Indie Reel. I'm J77. I'm doing this live via through Starbucks. A lot of things have happened, a lot of good things have happened. Didn't mean it's going to pick time out of watching some films, and I'm going to be seeing this is one of three films going to be real out pretty much back to back. So look for these movies that's going to be coming out, especially the two ones I really want to talk about. But this is a film I felt important that needed to get top billing in terms of the movies I've seen thus far, including movies that I meant to release during the coming weeks. This is Nina, a film supposedly based on a true story by Nina Simone, one of the greatest singers, activists, songwriters of our time. Many people have heard her songs, adore her songs, really have changed the way music has been presented. She was very, very strong in terms of black culture. So this film really resonated with a lot of people, or when I say this person resonated with a lot of people within the African American community, and just in pretty much in music community in general. She was that popular, that important to the scope of music as well as African American history in general. So, to no one's surprise, this film did not was welcomed with open arms, especially when the trailer was finally released. Now, this film has been set back for years. There's no question that a lot of stuff that has been going on, the criticism that both the entertainment world as well as those who have seen the trailer has been well known, well documented, and that was the choice of Zoe Saldana playing the role of Nina Simone. Now, my feeling towards this is that I didn't really look at it as a major issue because one, she had played a black character within Star Trek. She's done a great job, and I really didn't make a big gripe out of that. Here is a little different because although I do consider her as a woman of ethnic color, there's a lot of people who felt that she had denounced calling herself black, but call herself pretty much Latin American, pretty much I think from Dominican and Puerto Rican, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think the main beef I have with this movie is the fact is I don't mind her being played in this role, but when you start putting makeup and paint her face darker than what it is, that's where I have a problem with. And I mentioned this in a shortened blog about my feeling towards this. Is I feel like they're trying to give an illusion, and to me, that's where I think a lot of the problem comes in. Not as just about Zoe Saldana playing the role, but the fact how they actually have made her, prepare her for this role. It becomes a very big distraction when it shouldn't be, especially in this movie. This is the one thing I just scratched my head when I saw this film is why did they need to, give her this nose and give her all this makeup? If they felt that that was the only way to make her feel convincing the role, then maybe the studios or the company involved with this movie should have just cast somebody else to do with that comes close to resembling the person that the film is trying to resemble, and that's very important because one thing I want to make this very clear. I don't really particularly care about the casting in terms of fantasy, something that is not meant to represent real life. This is a different scope. This person existed, and so the margin for error, especially when it comes to biopic, is very, very small. And already from seeing what they've done throughout the beginning of the film to the end of the film, they really struck out in that situation where it became a distraction. And that's the last thing you want your biopic to become, a distraction on something that shouldn't be a distraction. With that being said, I think Zoe Saldana really did put her all in this movie. I really thought she came in and tried her best to represent this character the best way she can possibly do. And that says a lot considering that she's really one of the few shining lights of this movie. I can safely say that Zoe Saldana tried her hardest to give us a great performance in representing this legendary singer, this legendary activist. With that being said, this script is not well written, and for a biopic that's supposed to represent her achievement, her life, her struggle, they have completely dropped the ball, and I'll explain why. First of all, the film don't really focus too much, or pretty much barely focus on her achievements, her rise to fame, what influenced her music. The stuff they do focus on is only just seconds or a minute, and then they focus back on to what is really is the majority of the film, and that is her last decades, where she's pretty much no longer a star. She's struggling to get gigs in clubs. She's suffering from alcoholism, depression, bipolar. She's very, very self-destructive, and it takes a very patient friend of hers, a person she befriended when she got institutionalized, a nurse, that she started to slowly get herself back together. But it's not easy. She is constantly pushing this guy away, and even she had pushed him away, only to convince him to come back. But even with that situation, she has her own personal demons. You see that through the film, including when it was revealed during the end of the film that she is also battling cancer. A lot of the stuff is being shown, as well as some of the friends she does keep up. The manager who is dealing with this stuff, dealing with her on a constant basis. This is the movie. This is the generalization of the movie. You're really focusing on her struggles during the last decade of her life, and not really what made this person so remarkable at her work and why she felt the way she felt. And when they do touch up on this, it's very, very minuscule. And that's the thing about this film. If I was a person who wanted to recommend an actual documentary or actual work relating to Nana Simone, I wouldn't be this movie, because this movie really doesn't shine a light on her achievements as well as her struggle. It really just focuses on her struggles to the point where you kind of think in the back of your head is, how can I actually consider this be one of the greatest icon of all time? Is this the only thing that she's actually remembered for? It's kind of mostly insulting, because to me, yeah, she was not a perfect woman, but what most singers are. She had some struggles, she had problems, but it felt like they went out of their way to only focus on that problem. And for a biopic like this, you need to focus more on just that. You need to focus on what led to all the struggles, what led to her singing the song she did, because the song she did, they had a statement to make. They had a message to be passed. It wasn't just something she was singing out the blue. Every song she had told a story, told what she was feeling at that time. And that is something they completely missed. I did not get that feel from this movie. All I felt was I felt a woman who I just don't want to meet, and that's not a good sign, especially for this film. I'm very critical with biopics, because biopics, you gotta be on point of what you're doing. I'm not saying make the person all goody two she all perfect. No, show the struggles, show the achievements, show the failure, but show it in a balanced way where I can say this is the movie that you need to see, or because it has this and that on it, and it will give you to the point where you want to go back and actually look up more history or more videos about this real life iconic figure. A perfect example, Malcolm X. I can tell you, Spike Lee did his homework. I saw this movie. I was amazed by this movie, and I wanted to know more about Malcolm X. They barely taught him into the schools. So when I saw this movie, it made me want to dive into more about this one of his great black leaders. The same thing goes with Ray. The same thing goes with Get On Up. This is the kind of film that if you do it right, you can show the accomplishments as well as the struggles and even the failures. This film didn't do that, and for a biopic like this, it really did not make me feel comfortable or even more respectable to what they were trying to do. It's almost like the director only wanted to focus on the negative, and that's it. And that's something you simply cannot do when you're dealing with one of the great activists in African American history. Another thing I want to also feel like is that the script was not well written. The pacing was oftentimes slow. And just the fact is, it fell into the situational corner where if you watch a soap opera, it's felt like a soap opera you see on pretty much regular TV, and that's never a good sign. The stuff I did like, I liked the relationship that they show between a friend, as well as some other people that came in. Mark S was surprisingly, for the little time he was there, did a pretty good job. One of his better roles, surprisingly. And I thought that for the most part, they actually did the stuff they did hit on. It did got me wanting to look up the stuff and the struggles and what she went through. But other than that, besides the performance of Zoe Saldana, which was good. To me, she was not the issue. I know a lot of people want to look at her as the issue. She's not the issue. The issue is that you had a director and producers who didn't know or didn't bother doing their full homework and giving us a great representation of a person who, to me, deserved better than what their movie they gave us out now. To me, my feeling to you is, if you want to get a full insight of what Nina Simone was, I recommend you go to YouTube, look at some of the interviews she have done, look at actual documentaries that really tell the story correctly, as well as some of the music that she had played in a lot of concerts, as well as the music that's actually still floating around on YouTube or Daily Motion, and you have more of a grasp of what this amazing woman is than this movie did. On a scale of 1 to 4, it's 2 stars. I was very disappointed about this movie. I really thought I was going to get more. I ended up getting less, and that's pretty much not a good sign. And yeah, I'm going to also say it again. Again, the thing about the problem I had mostly was also with the film. Really wasn't with Zoe Saldana as her acting. It was the fact they gave her makeup that everyone, including myself, finds very offensive. And I say it again: if you want to try and give us that illusion, you was better off casting someone else. To me, that was completely miscast, just on that alone. And I would think that Hollywood learned their lesson doing this, but obviously we still got a long way to go. This is the difference between being offensive. And again, if this is not a fantasy thing, fantasies I always seem to give a bit of a pass depending on what they're trying to go with. But in this one, when you're dealing with an actual person, you can't play games with that. You need to show respect. And to this movie, they actually didn't show respect. In fact, a lot of people, including myself, felt disrespected because they didn't really give us a full grasp on a great singer. That's all I got to say about that, guys. You may disagree with me. I'd like to hear your opinion on the matter. But until then, this is J77. Say take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.